Ingsoc, English Socialism. Newspeak was the official language of the totalitarian state of Oceania. In the totalitarian politics of Oceania, the state possessed control over every aspect of its citizens' lives. The way they dressed, who they associated with, what they did with their free time, and most importantly, their thoughts. To achieve this goal, the government set out to construct a perfect language, a language in which all concepts that went against party policy were removed. The state wanted to destroy every idea that conflicted with Ingsoc, English socialism. The concepts of freedom, liberty, love, privacy, and democracy went against basic party principles, and therefore had to be stamped out. And, since these concepts were becoming non-existent, there was no longer any need to have words to describe them. By destroying the words themselves, the state would be able to destroy the concepts they represented. Once the language had been cleansed, there would be no way to form any resistance against the government. The communication of heretical ideas would be impossible, since the words to describe any unorthodox ideas would not be available. Any would-be revolutionaries would be robbed of the words that were necessary to spread their ideas. Moreover, it prevented anybody from even thinking any dangerous ideas in the first place. But the goal of Newspeak was more than just the mere destruction of words. Scores of words had their meanings altered in order to make certain ideas more palatable for the masses. So when I was in college learning about mass communications, that was my major, TV production, essentially really was propaganda. One of the concepts, the terms that they gave us, it was called selective exposure. And what they said is that we selectively expose people to certain information and intentionally omit other information or never discuss certain topics to the masses, so they'll never know about it. And the way they justify it is, I think it's called biased message processing, saying that people will watch TV in order to have their frame of reference reinforced. But I think that that frame of reference was manufactured in the first place. But people do that. They do watch things to have they only want to see what they already believe. But when you intentionally omit information from people or get them to turn their heads or don't look here, that's terrible to me. And actually, as I'm reading all this right now, I'm realizing that the majority of people like to enslave people and like to omit information from other people. People keep their secrets. People try to make things complicated so no one can understand. I'm so not for that. Now, one of the things in this passage here was it's not just the words that were important. It's the concepts they represented. And even though in present day, a lot of people are on board now that I say I go to watch movies to be informed, because it's not so much the specific detail I'm looking for. I'm looking for concepts that put new ideas in your mind, not details. You know, a movie's going to have the details thwarted and modified, distorted. And that's where, you know, when people call people disinformation agents or shills, oftentimes it's irrelevant to me because I'm looking at the concept that they're presenting, not the specific information. Other people focus so much on the specific information and they miss out on the concept just because part of the data was incorrect. Yeah, you shouldn't trust a person. But why would you take someone's words at face value anyway? I'm out to learn the concepts because the concepts are ideas and ideas are what change things. So controlling a language is very important, you know, and that's what political correctness does. It modifies what a word means and prevents you from expressing what the word once meant and replaces it with a sanitized version of what they want the word to mean, so they don't sound bad. So you know, they changed. I'm not a garbage man. I'm a sanitation engineer. I'm not a secretary. I'm an administrative assistant. I'm not a cop. I'm a law enforcement officer. And so a whole bunch of words, or propaganda. The word propaganda has been replaced with the word public relations. Oh, it's not propaganda. It's public relations. So yeah, the field of public relations is the field of propaganda. So when you see the public relations person, It's the propaganda person. But if you said, hey, it's the propaganda guy. What? No, I'm the public relations guy. Oh yeah, the propaganda guy. So public relations, what a trick that was on people. But yeah, public relations is propaganda. And this one I'm actually not making up. Edward Bernays says on camera that he coined the word public relations because after the Nazis made the word propaganda have negative connotation, he had to create a modification word for propaganda because he had written a book called Propaganda, and so he changed it to public relations. And that's why they say Edward Bernays is the father of public relations. But he's the father of propaganda. If you don't know who Edward Bernays is, he might be more important to read about than 1984. They're neck and neck. They go hand in hand.